guys, and welcome to today's Los Blancos podcast. Today we'll be discussing Alvaro Carreras and welcoming him to Real Madrid. Welcoming him back to Real Madrid because he signed back from the release clause we paid 50 million, and we also sent Rafael Obrador the other way to Benfica. It's a huge signing, one in which I would say we needed because of our left back depth. It's quite weak. And so we kind of needed this signing Alvaro Carreras to go through. And so I'm happy to have him here, 100%. But I think we've got to talk about it because let's start with the price because it is quite expensive. And I need to say, how good is Alvaro Carreras is the first thing I think we have to say. After watching him in some games, I've seen some Benfica games last season, the ones against Barcelona. I think it's very obvious that he is a good player. He's a good player. Let's register that first. He is an improvement on Mendy for sure, and he's probably an improvement on Fran Garcia as well. So immediately you pay 50 million, you're going to get an improvement on both of those guys. The thing about it though is, I don't look at him and I say he's a world-class player. And I don't really see the potential for him to be a world-class player, which is the thing which I'm kind of hesitant about. I see a player who's a good defender. He did really well against Lamine Yamal, and he's a good defender. And he's good going forward as well. Not exceptional, but he's good going forward. I would say probably a 7 out of 10 in both of those categories. So, in terms of that, you're signing a guy who's pretty damn decent at everything he does, but not world class. And so 50 million, what should that get you in today's market in terms of a defender? There were guys like Alejandro Grimaldo available, you could say, for maybe cheaper. Obviously Grimaldo's older, and so that might have told Real Madrid to not buy that one, to not go for him as the jet goes outside my house. But I think it's very clear that he isn't the best in the world at his position, and that I think we need to make that very clear. I'm looking at his stats now, okay? And actually, I'm very surprised and pleasantly surprised because I look at it and I see a guy who's pretty good. He looks really good at some things. I mean, let's start with the passing statistics. And something which, you need to transfer from Benfica to Real Madrid is something about that ball retaining, just keeping the ball, knocking the ball around. Especially we're going to have the ball quite a lot. It's quite important to have this passing statistics being solid. He's very, very, looks like he's very calm with his feet and he doesn't mess up too much. Good pass completion, good pass attempted. He's high volume, a lot of passes made, and so yeah, it's pretty good. There's one especially which I think is very interesting to me is the progressive passes in the top 3%. So that really does, that makes me look like, damn, that's really good. So 6.6 progressive passes per 90 is very, very good for a left back. And so I'm impressed with that. That's definitely something which is quite nice. Especially if we need to have a little bit more forward thinking. A lot of the times the criticism with Fran Garcia is that he doesn't have a brain, he doesn't really know what he's doing. From what I could see from Alvaro Carreras, there does seem to be a guy who's a bit more present in the head. So that's definitely an improvement to have. Another stat I've looked at here, the switches, he's in the top 3%, and that's something that we've lacked. I think just adding a few more switches in the game, I think is very, very important. So I'm happy that he has that ability. So that's also good to see. His shot creation is really good actually as well. He's not really good, pretty good. So 2.8 shot creating actions per 90 is really good, I think, actually. It just shows you that he is a bit of a chance creator. He can create chances, and it's a nice contrast from Fran Garcia, who is just in your face, get down the wing, just try and open up some opportunities. I think he's a little bit more laid back, a little bit slower, a little bit less frantic. And so that might make him a better option against teams like PSG, where we need a guy who's going to be a bit more, what's the word? Composed is the best word I think I can use there. And who knows how to pick his moments. And I think that's what I'm really getting from this. His defensive stats aren't very good, I've got to say. I think a lot of this is not amazing. His interceptions are alright, 1.3 interceptions per 90, that's alright, I guess. But a lot of it is just average to below average defensive statistics. However, I must say, in the games that he did play against Lamine Yamal for Benfica, and the game, let's start with that. I think he was really good against Lamine Yamal. He kept Lamine Yamal quite quiet, and it was the game in which Barca won 5-4. So it was that game. He was quite good on Lamine Yamal, and apart from a stupid penalty this year, and I think he was very, very good against Lamine Yamal and kept him really quiet. So that's very important for us, obviously, because that's going to be the matchup that he's going to be playing against most often. So that's important for him to have that ability to lock down. And also the game in which he was missing in the round of 16, that's when Lamine Yamal had a good game against Benfica. That's when he ripped Benfica to shreds. So it just shows you that he is actually a good defender when he's required to just lock in, defend, and focus, make that his thing. But in terms of the regular game against Alaves or Las Palmas or whatever, his passing's pretty good, and he knows how to dominate the ball. But the thing is, I'm very, very happy with the fact that I've seen him be able to compete with Lamine Yamal on that pitch. And to be fair to Fran Garcia, he's been able to do that as well. But I think Alvaro Carreras will help us a lot more in that aspect. So I'm very happy with that. But let's move on to his best attribute. I think is his ball carrying. He's absolutely fantastic at ball carrying, which is quite important a lot of the time. A lot of this time, we see Real Madrid and they're quite static. They don't really do much. And to be fair to Fran Garcia, I'm not gonna get on him for this because this is one thing he's actually really good at. But at least we're not losing that with Alvaro Carreras if we were to play Alvaro Carreras. His progressive carries 2.9 per 90, carries into the final third 2, and carries into the penalty area with 0.5. So he is very, very just in your face. He'll get down, and if he needs to, he'll beat his man. So I think it's quite good to have that ability. And so I see a guy here who's just very good at just everything. He's decent enough at everything, and I think that's quite important to have. Not like exceptional in any ability, but I think this is one thing. When we were rumoured to sign Alphonso Davies at one point, I was worried because we were going to sign Trent and we were going to sign Alphonso Davies, and you're going to have two marauding fullbacks, two guys who are exceptional at what they do, but obviously are going to leave your defence very, very wide open. The thing is, I wanted a guy who was going to be more laid back, more similar to what we've had in the past, like with Marcelo and Dani Carvajal. Marcelo would get forward, up the pitch, and Dani Carvajal would be kind of a little bit more conservative, could be a bit more smart. So I think something similar, a similar setup. Obviously, Alvaro Carreras isn't some sort of mega fullback world star like Trent is. So I think that nice dynamic between the two flanks would be quite good to have, and I'm happy that he was going to bring that. So I'm quite happy with that overall. He's 22 years old, so he's got plenty of time as well. So this is a one for the future. So I think overall I'm pretty happy with the signing. Listen, I once again need to say that 50 million, it does feel like an overpay. I would have been happy with 30 million, I feel like, but whatever, you needed the signing, and so I guess you're gonna have to make it work with 50. It's fine. You can live with that. Benfica, once again, the scam artists of the century. They're just fantastic with doing their work and getting the most money out of their guys. So that's fair enough to them. But overall, I'm quite happy to get him over the line after a long saga. We also sent Rafael Obrador the other way as well. So maybe he becomes something in Benfica and Benfica's system. If he doesn't, then no harm, no foul. He just stays in Portugal. It just lingers. But yeah, I think overall I'm happy with this signing. We'll get it over, and we need to talk about Fran Garcia because I think I'm happy with his performance so far in the Club World Cup. I think he was very good over the Club World Cup. Really solid player. and under Xabi Alonso in this new role where he's getting forward, I think he's doing a really good job. But I think we saw against PSG the limitations. You can't play him in those big games and expect him to do so well, because he's just not smart enough for that type of game. And so that's where I think Alvaro comes in and improves us immediately. So I think, yeah, in my opinion, it's just an easy improvement. Maybe he Carreras just goes and becomes a top left back. He's 22. He's got plenty of years, so maybe he can. I'm not a coach for a reason. So I don't know exactly the true potential of Alvaro, but I'm not guaranteeing that he's going to become something special. But I think overall pretty happy. And I've got to say, comes in starting lineup, improves us immediately, and yeah, that's really all I've got to say about this signing. There's also been talks about Konate. Maybe we'll talk about that in a separate video, so I'm not going to talk about it here. There's also going to be a Modric tribute coming out soon as well, Mastantuono podcast as well, season review, and then we've got plenty of time before the first game of the season. So stay tuned. Make sure you got notifications on, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.